it's that time of the week again. It's already here.
Yep, we're already talking now.
We're
We're
excited
using our words.
using our
Yep,
words
right now.
right
To
now.
talk about everyone's favorite hobby, the miniature wargaming hobby.
It's my favorite.
Mm.
Is it my favorite hobby? I think it
Me
is,
too, even though I
actually.
have nothing to do with it. I mean,
um,
you're related. You help with stuff. I mean, I haven't really been doing hobby related stuff other than trying to write some posts for the last week or two. So sometimes hard.
it is sometimes hard.
It's often hard.
Oh, hey, Dave. Nice to have you here.
Yeah, it is nice to have you here in these crazy times, and it's nice to be here. That it is. That it is.
So I guess we can get right into the hobby happening section of the stream. Similar to last week, I'm still working on converting that orc knob. I don't remember what his name is. Does anyone remember? Oh, damn it.
No.
I threw out the packaging for him. I'm just gonna call him the Games Day knob.
Yeah. Grishnak.
Is that what
Looks
it
like.
really is?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, yeah, so I'm still working on him. I think his pistol is nearly finished now, which I think maybe I just started showing some work on that last stream. So I've done that. I've done a little more work on
I have
his.
an interjection that's hardly related, but I will
Hmm.
forget it otherwise. Um, at the lab, I drew a picture of a goblin and named him Torkins, and then we taped the goblin picture up inside our capillary electrophoresis. And so Torkins is watching over the proceedings every time. That's good.
That's great.
Thanks, Torkins.
Helping. He's helping. Um, yeah. Okay, yeah, so, and I've done a little more work on his little blade. I've made that smaller. And I guess now I'm in the process of designing some other gear and equipment to go on his belt. Maybe mainly just some more magazines for his pistol, and maybe
Mhm.
also a little holstered silencer for his pistol because he needs stuff like that. But yeah, he's going pretty well. I still need to do some more sculpting on his boots. I've sort of been dragging my feet in that aspect. Don't really want to do it.
Mhm.
Um, but it's going okay.
Yeah, we posted a picture of the his pistol or his slugger on Instagram, and interestingly, we didn't get any comments about saying that like, "Oh, this isn't a slugger anymore because it's this size," or those sorts of arguments. So I was surprised. You think it could be because since it's not a Space Marine thing, people don't care, or It the could be. I mean, people it
Um,
who
it
wanna
got
yeah, I mean, people did talk about it, but maybe the people who feel the need to tell us how it is
yeah,
aren't. I mean, it got almost 700 likes, which is relatively good for
that's
us,
good.
honestly. So, but yeah, I mean, I think Space Marine stuff always brings the most people out.
Hey
But
Eli
they,
and hey Johnny, Happy New Year to you too.
yeah, nice to see y'all here.
No, yeah, I thought I was surprised. The overall response to his pistol was really positive. And the biggest thing I was waiting for someone to come on and say like, why did you add all those additions to the gun to make it look like it could actually work. Like, they don't need to work. The orcs just have to believe it works. That's what I was expecting.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get it again.
it's
If we
true.
post the full model, I'm sure there's always the chance. But
I'm waiting for
I've
it.
been in the process of putting together a blog post just talking about kind of our most popular posts in episodes of the podcast and things like this over 2020 just to reflect on the year. And surprising to pretty much no one, Space Marines were the most popular everything, basically.
That's pretty cool, Eric.
But I'll leave it at that, though. When the actual post is out, people can see it for all its glory. But Space Marines, that's what everyone wants.
Yeah. Well, so I guess I have another question for this orc model that I'm working on now. Do we think he should be standing on this like box of like shell like ammunition and stuff, or should I change it to something else?
Hey, Nacho, nice to have you here too.
I almost want to say keep it because it's such a callback to
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's better than a rock.
it could be a dead space marine.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, so what's the other thought? Do we think we want him to go along with the Eldar pirate that I converted a while ago? So if that's true, maybe I want to take this off and put it on a modified one of the Necromunda bases that I don't really want to modify.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, I feel it has some potential because had always been sort of talking about that Eldar. We wanted him to be some sort of pirate raider like character that had alliances or allegiance with various Xenos races and whatnot, and having kind of an orc freebooter type character, I feel makes sense.
It does.
Just wants to crump things.
Well, regardless, I certainly wouldn't replace it with a rock or something because, well,
Yeah. I I mean, I guess I said I wouldn't go back to this, but I feel inclined to talk about how everyone loves Space Marines. Even with the podcast, um, we had like 16 episodes in 2020, 8 of which were with like really cool people. A bunch of a bunch of whom are in this chat here, but and also people like the Polysmith and things like that. And even with impressive like names and people like that, they were still beaten out in popularity by our episode about Space Marines and true scale Space Marines.
ugh.
Yeah, Space Marines. So maybe we should now start to have every year have like a status report on Space Marines in the 40K universe.
Well, I mean,
Or
maybe instead, what I should just do is I should focus the entire year on Space Marines.
that would probably increase our followers dramatically.
I'm not.
But that
I'm not gonna
doesn't really
fucking do that. I
matter.
don't care.
It doesn't really matter.
I don't care. I mean, I imagine. So I guess one of the things that towards the end of last year, one of our goals was to try and have at least one tutorial post about like converting weapons every 2 months. And I don't know, we'll see how this year goes, but I'd like to continue trying to do something like that to slowly produce more tutorials about various things, most likely just scaling back 40k weapons. And I feel that I find is a good way to just convert a Space Marine weapon and slowly start building more and more true scale Space Marines with other weapons. Like, I sort of feel like next I should tackle the bolt pistol, like a Space Marine bolt pistol, because I haven't been very happy with them for a long time, and I
Yeah.
think they could use a lot of work. And I'm not even sure what I'd want to do with it, really. Ideally, initially, it would just be figuring out a way to relatively simply and easily take maybe like one of the Primaris bolt. What are they called? Bolt? They're not heavy bolt pistol. Well,
There is a heavy bolt pistol.
there is a heavy bolt pistol, but that's the thing the Reavers have, I think.
Yeah. The normal Primaris pistols are just bolt pistols, but they look different.
Okay. Maybe maybe modify one of those, or I don't know. I'll have to look around. But so maybe probably sometime next month I'll have the first tutorial post of the year, and maybe it'll be a bolt pistol. Or I see. I also sort of would like to try and maybe convert a like a heavy bolter or something. So I feel that when I think about converting heavy bolter, I feel I'd be more tempted to like drastically redesign it, when it might be better to try and keep some of the like heavy bolter imagery and such, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess a Meltagun would also be another good one.
And melty guns are so powerful.
They're so powerful, Eric. It's
Think
true.
about all the exciting games you could win with that.
But yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I had half a mind to make a tutorial about this orc here and converting his weapon, but I wasn't going into it. I wasn't really at all sure what I was going to do with it. So I guess maybe if I convert another orc this year, maybe I do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we'll see.
And I feel this is maybe a little bit more in depth than some of your other conversions that you put on the tutorial.
Yeah, some of the stuff was kind of a pain. There was a lot of just shaving the main body of the weapon, and then the little ejection port. Which we don't get a great view of it here, but with that, it was largely just with a pin vise drilling out part of it, and then using a hobby knife to kind of shave around in there and make the edges a little boxier. So it's a lot of kind of fiddly. I feel maybe even more fiddly work than some of the other things that I've done.
Yeah.
But
it looks good.
yeah, we'll see. And then I guess I also I want, from this picture here, you see I'm trying to assemble like the original version of the model. And for this, I don't know. I guess I don't think I'll convert his pistol. I mean, maybe I should. Would look better. I don't think
I think it's still fine just leaving it as it is.
trimming the metal models is bad enough.
It is terrible. I'm glad I don't have to do it often.
Yeah, I feel I trim a metal model now maybe about once or so a year. And that's enough.
Yeah.
I remember for a long time,
Yeah.
like, I really liked metal and preferred it over some of the other forms. And like I don't know if, now thinking at it, I don't know if I prefer metal or resin. Both kinda suck.
I would say I think I prefer metal because even though they're kind of a pain to deal with, the mold lines and such, like it's I don't know, more solid, and the sort of issues you have, I feel they're less pronounced most of the time, at least in my experience. But
There, the mold shifts are
both are
often
terrible
the mold
to
shifts are
work with.
typically not as bad. Though I have had a few metal models from the old GW metal models where they had extreme like mold shifts or warps or something, and they were awful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I will say, like, the metal, like some of those older models, they hold detail really well. And there is something, and there's also, I guess, something about kind of the weight, the extra weight of the model that's nice. They do sort of suck if you like drop them or something.
Yeah, it is true.
There's much more. There's a much higher probability that you'll kind of ruin them.
Particularly when like their bases are often just plastic without much weight to them. When you pick them up, they can be somewhat top heavy in that way.
Yeah. So one thing that I had forgotten about these older metal orc models, the model, this one, he's largely a single piece model except for his head that you glue on, and it doesn't fit on very well, his head. And like
Mm.
it's to the point where it's like, man, maybe I should try and pin his head on, but doing that, well, it'll be really hard to position it properly and get the pin in there.
Hmm.
So we'll see what I end up doing with it. I will say I like both versions of the model. Um I think the older one, the metal one, he might look a little fiercer. But I do like the newer one, how they made his head a little smaller. I think in general, a lot of the orcs, once they start making some of the heads of some of the orcs are fucking huge. Well, I guess he's not. They might not even sell him anymore. The metal war boss model they had for a long time, he had a huge head. I still
Yeah,
liked it, but
yeah, it did. Yeah, no, you're right, Brett. Converting metal stuff is often pretty terrible. But I feel yeah, having something like a Dremel makes at least some of that a lot better. Which admittedly, back in the day when I was working with metal models, I didn't have a Dremel at the time, which
no.
would have been nice.
Well, I feel back when we started, like so many things were metal that it was just a thing that's how it was.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the thought of having plastic characters just like that wasn't even a thought.
Yeah.
We knew that was sort of an impossibility and wasn't going to be, so
You wanted that heft, so you knew they were important.
true.
The metal that the GW models use is also very different too. Like Infinity, for instance, all of their models are in like a white metal, but the white metal on those models is a lot softer, and it's not nearly as much of an issue to really do anything with it, like to remove the
Mhm.
mold lines. They're also typically pretty good. The mold lines on most of the Infinity models are pretty minor. Um, this orc here, I I would not say the mold lines are minor. So, and I think some of them I might end up just having to do some sculpting to fix some of the things. So it's gonna take some work. I feel I've already spent like probably over an hour working on trimming off the mold lines on the model, and I don't feel like I've made much of a dent. And then you get little metal shavings like literally everywhere. Yeah, I don't miss it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think by the end of this month, he'll be finished with whatever I do with him. I probably won't do, as I said, anything on him. Like, I might remove, like, the old metal one, he has that stupid skull hanging from his pistol. I'm tempted to want to just remove that.
Yeah, I was never a big fan.
Yeah, it will just break off.
Yeah, that I feel that's the real thing.
And I feel it also just adds more visual focus on that, which isn't that interesting. Like the pistol itself isn't that interesting either.
I was surprised that the pistol, that the metal version, the pistol is it was more detailed than the plastic one, but the sizes of both were nigh identical, which surprised me a little.
Hmm. That is interesting.
I was sort of envisioning the plastic one was going to be much bigger because Games Workshop tends to just increase the size of most of the weapons and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, both models are coming along pretty well. With a little luck, I will actually paint both of them as well, which I think would be kind of fun. I don't even remember the last time I painted an orc model.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know.
it's been at least 10 years. I guess the closest thing was a little tin boy model that I painted, and that was probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's been a while. I mean, there really haven't been too many good 40K orc releases, at least
No.
in single models. I mean, it's a bunch of. They released all those different buggies and war track type stuff. That it was all pretty good, but we're not too big on getting vehicles.
I'd sort of be interested to, like, I don't know, the the newer plastic Thraka model. I'm sort of interested to actually see that model in person. Like, I don't know how much I love it. We've talked about that before, but
Yeah.
You sure you want to get a Gargant?
Uh, Honestly, the best orc stuff that's been released so much recently are all the Aeronautica Imperialis little
all the
bits
little jets and stuff, they're fun.
Yeah.
They are fun. So that's what we've been working on hobby wise.
Yeah, I haven't done much. I took some more pictures of some of the models I painted this year. I don't know. You maybe showed that for a slight amount of time, Adam.
Showed what?
The I took some pictures
Yeah,
of
yeah.
those sisters of battle and stuff. I was trying to experiment with taking pictures to have something for our 2020 recap post and didn't know what to do. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, otherwise, like I just been writing stuff and dragging my feet at starting any more legitimate hobby stuff.
Makes sense.
One thing that we could maybe bring up, I think it was either today or yesterday that 28, like the digital magazine started or introduced its next challenge, similar to like last year. There was the one about creating like another chaos god, and the year before that there was the Ian Miller challenge. And this year there's another one that was just started called the Downtrodden, which the basic challenge is to make some sort of imperial citizen or some like non-combatant person just to sort of help flesh out the squalor and I don't know, destitution of the Imperium. So I think it will be neat. And it'll be neat to see people do some different things and not feel the need to fill it up with firearms and things like that. Which I mean, admittedly, I'm sure people have those things despite being non-combatants, but that will hopefully not be the focus of it. So I think that should be fun and seems like something. Yeah, I would just generally encourage people to go to their website, look at the challenge, and consider trying to take part in it because it's always good to push your creativity and try something different.
Yeah, I think the deadline for it is the 31st of March.
Coming up,
Forget,
it's not
does the
coming up.
model need to be painted?
Adepticon, that's not coming up. I'm not honestly sure if it needs to be painted by that time. I suspect, yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
probably would want to.
So, but yes, I think that's fun. I think Murkborg is starting a new Kickstarter soon as well.
Oh, really?
People hear that?
All the time. Yes.
They're always kickstarting the new. I think this is more sort of user created content, maybe.
Well, most of Ferritory was too, right?
Well, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm saying. That it's basically that. I think like another one
No,
of
you mean
something.
additional, not. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, because then they also didn't they also have a Kickstarter that was kind of like producing a vinyl.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
When I see Morgborg and Kickstarter involved, I support.
I don't think they have anything on their website about it, but in their like Discord and maybe Instagram as well, they posted a thing or two.
Eli knows the date. He's supporting it.
Yeah. Eli just throws money at it, he says.
He's probably wearing the Morgborg hat and shirt right now.
Well, so are they gonna have a Kickstarter for their sci-fi version of it?
That's not clear actually, or
Okay.
exactly what that is either.
Yeah.
When they do,
I assume they will.
the original production of the book was kickstarted too, I believe, and I
Yeah.
wish that I was
In
on
the
that.
know?
Yeah. But you can't know about everything.
Mm-mm. No. Well, so what do people think of us going and talking about some
It's happening
Necromunda
again.
stuff?
We're talking about Orlocks.
Yeah.
We always talk about Orlocks.
Yeah.
And surprising to everyone, they showed new pictures of new Orlocks, and we have to talk about them.
Yeah, so I think most people here know that we have a history with the new Warlock models.
Yeah, and
And I guess
Orlocks.
just up front, I think they're certainly better than the initial, like the original plastic. No, I shouldn't say the original plastic Orlocks because they actually had plastic Orlocks for. Was it the original version of Necromunda
Yeah,
years and years ago? Those are
yeah,
probably the best plastic Warlocks they ever released.
yeah. But Johnny, you're right to question it. Yeah, like why are they continuing to release more Orlocks?
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, the biggest thing that we have to say here, it's cool that at least all the ones that are showing, they're all female models, and the more Games Workshop does to like add more female models, the better, particularly ones that look a little different. But the
They aren't
biggest
like
thing,
super overly sexualized.
yeah, I guess the thing that,
The worst thing about them is their Orlocks.
well, yeah, they're Orlocks, and they have most of the same visual language from the original Warlock sculpts is present here. Like they still have that very squatty, short-limbed, caricature-ridden like features. Um,
Yeah, I feel they look so caricatured. And like people like, oh, that's heroic scale, but so many heroic scaled models don't quite look like that. And that's kind of the same thing for like the classic plastic space marine model that when you look at it compared to basic almost any other Games Workshop model, it looks kind of comical in that it was like a practical joke because of how caricatured and squatty and weird it looks. I feel that's what I always disliked so much about the original Warlock models, how stumpy and odd they look. And these look like they're the closest thing to the classic Space Marine sculpt in that sense. When you just look at them and immediately like, wow, like this is like a chibi version of a model almost. And it's sad because like the faces look really nice and a lot of elements of the model look pretty neat and I generally like kind of the biker outfit, but
I don't know.
the
Yeah,
way
I
they
think
look
the
just
biggest thing here is like, yeah, I think if you just cut off the legs and replace the legs with more normally sized legs, it would look way better. Like
the
all of
torso
them.
looks kind of weird and small,
The
but
torso looks a
depending on
little
how you
small, yeah.
manipulate new legs, it could help. But I think to me everything looks just not subtle looking. They're big, chunky looking thing. Is like even just looking at the belt buckle of the models, like they're these gigantic skulls that aren't
Gigantic, poorly detailed skulls.
that just look bad. And like, can you imagine if you were in real life and had something like that? It'd be bigger than like the largest novelty belt buckle with less detail and fine craftsmanship than eh, it's just weird. Like they got so close to being great in the sense that they're having like relatively reasonable looking female models that aren't in like sexualized poses and stuff, looking pretty much just like their male counterparts. Like, wow, this is so great. But then you look at them and like they just fell so flat.
They had to be Orlocks.
Yeah, because like, what if this was like practically any of the other gangs? If
Mm-hmm.
they kept the same general level of quality as all the other gangs, it would be like so exciting. But to me, it almost looks like they're not even Games Workshop models, that they're a level
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
quality, detail, and just everything lower than almost everything else
To
they
me,
produce.
it's very apparent they're Games Workshop models because they look like Orlocks, and we know Warlocks.
Yeah, well, I mean, but to some extent, I almost feel like they made that kind of bad initial plastic core lock design, and then they had to stick with it.
Yeah, they should
So
have
they
just
did.
jumped ship, thrown it all out, and started again.
The hands are so fat and sausage fingered, and
I like despise like nearly all of their weapons. Like I just hate them. like the revolvers, they're like almost they're like a joke. Like this revolver she's holding, like it practically looks like like a grenade launcher. It's that big and stubby and like it. I hate them. And then their auto rifles, like part of the design is okay, but like the height of the whole weapon is so extreme, like it would be very hard to control that. Wait, Eli says, in defense of it, every large skull decoration with decent detail around Halloween is exponentially more expensive than the super derpy skulls. I'd probably cheap out from too for my Warlock cosplay. Yeah, I hear that.
Warlock cosplay seems like a fun idea.
It would be fun.
Yeah,
I
just so
mean, they're
interesting because
certainly better than the male counterparts. Like, there's no question. They're like way better.
like the faces look actually kind of different and interesting, and like they're
Yeah, the faces
so
look pretty
close.
good. They actually have necks. Like having a real neck. Like I'm down with that. I'm really
Yeah, I mean,
down with
I have
that.
a neck. I relate
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah, we can all relate to having a neck.
Warlock
Their boots
cosplay.
their boots aren't as big. They're still huge, but they're not as big, and their legs aren't as big.
It's just so interesting. Like I was surprised that these were being released. Like it was a surprise to me, and like this should be really exciting. But
Also, like I didn't actually read any of the stuff. Like, are these just more Orlock models, or are they special somehow?
I made a good effort to
Gunners.
try to read it and then stopped.
As you know, gunners are a mainstay of Warlock gangs.
I didn't.
They are hive-hardened fighters with a rebellious streak a mile wide.
Yeah, I can see the rebellion in them.
Yeah.
Look at that weird looking sword.
Eli, I'll form a band with you called Orlock Cosplay.
The chainsword is kind of interesting. It almost looks as if the handle for it's to look like the handlebar of like a motorcycle. Do
Yeah,
you think there's like a gun in there too, and it's like a gun blade? Wouldn't that be cool?
the best. That would be the
That'd be
best.
awesome. Also, it's interesting that this last one, like I'm glad she has all these bionics and stuff. Like that's kind of neat, and this is an interesting heavy bolter. But I do really wish though that the
Heavy
barrel
bolters
of the
weren't
heavy
so dumb
bolter
looking.
wouldn't be that big. So like let's look at the bore size of the heavy bolter here. How many of the rounds that would come out of this could even fit in the drum magazine attached to it? Like
Yeah,
10 at
it's
max?
ridiculous. I mean,
10 at
it's
max.
cool that she has a bionic arm to hold that heavy thing, but like it would be so heavy that she probably her frame couldn't hold it up, even though right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just so big.
Unsupervised darkness postulates that 6 would be the
Yeah, I mean that's probably more accurate. Like that could literally, like I guess it's probably a semi-automatic weapon
each round weighing 20 pounds.
or something. Yeah, it's bad. And then it also looks like this model, she has her hand on like a dagger or something. Is that what she's doing? She's like pulling out a dagger. I
I
guess
don't
she's
know.
realized, oh fuck, like I'm already out of ammunition. I got spooked and like shot a few rounds at down a hallway, and now we're done out. And
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, God, I
It's
really have to
not
design a
great.
better heavy bolter because they're bad. So I don't know. I'm interested to see more about this kit and see what else they put in it. I think
Yeah,
some
yeah,
of
how it's being released.
yeah, I
It
think
would be
some of the stuff could be useful, and I think if you cut off like everything from the waist down and replaced it with something else, they'd probably be pretty usable, and you just couldn't use any of their weapons. Maybe the chain sword with some modification,
their
but
arms aren't best either, but
they're okay. They look better than
they're
the
not
other
the worst.
Warlock arms. And
Yeah, I
also, what's
guess.
weird is like, I wish. Do you think the person who initially sculpted this autogun, this like folding stock on it, do you think they knew that was supposed to be a folding stock, or do you think they just looked at
Gun.
weapons and guns and stuff and saw some had things like this and just put it on, you know?
It does seem more the latter.
Because it would have been great if it wasn't if it wasn't folded up like this. But just based on how large it is, like it if you had the stalk folded down to be like used, it would be rough to shoulder that.
Yeah, it's just too broad.
Yeah.
Bad design.
Because like
Or
looking
maybe an
at
ingenious design.
yeah, it's ingenious, alright.
Ingenious.
Like literally looking at this autogun, if you cut off like the entire upper half of the weapon and like just the foregrip she has her one hand on, there's this other little like barrel thing underneath the main barrel. Like if you just put the main barrel there and cut off all the rest on the top, it would be okay.
It would be a lot better. It would be really broad. It would still be ridiculously broad though, but it would
Yeah.
still be substantially
But
better.
I mean like this gun she's holding, that could be the heavy bolter.
Yeah. It does look like a light machine gun or something.
Yeah. Or a heavy stubber, I guess that's what we could call it. That's what we could say that is a heavy stubber.
Adam, that's an autogun.
Yeah. I-
He's standing on a pretty cool rock.
It's a cool rock. It is a cool rock. Maybe I should wait until these come out and I can replace the ammunition hopper on the orc that I'm working on with this. Like, you can't tell me that that's not cool.
Adam, that's not cool.
Yeah. I, actually, Eli could be right. What she's holding here, this could actually be an auto pistol and not an auto rifle.
That would
Wouldn't
be more fitting with
wouldn't be
Games
the
Workshop.
first time.
It was an honest mistake.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. Like, I mean, this could actually be like a really good sign that they will revisit some of the other gangs and like essentially have another release for some of the gangs and just have more female variants. I guess a lot of the gangs, a lot of the later gangs, they did a little better of a job,
Yeah, they did.
including some female models in along with the male ones. Like a lot of them had at least two. Like the Deloc gang did.
When they make new Deloc models, I think the special thing they will do for that is make them even taller.
Yeah, they'll make them even taller. They weren't tall enough. Actually, Johnny does have a good idea. We could just have them standing on a cool box of rocks.
Would be funny to carve out the um
Dremel
ammu-
out the
the
interior and then
ammunition
just
hoppers there.
yeah, I
uh,
love it.
put
Be
in the
cool.
rocks.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like this could be a good sign for the future of Necromunda that they'll continue to release
I mean, I
models
feel it's certainly a
for
good
the
sign
gangs.
just in that concept that they must be doing the game must be popular enough that they can consistently release models, even ones like this that I don't think are even like new model or like it's not a new unit or something. Or maybe it is, but and like because they've been releasing stuff for Necromunda for I don't know a couple years now, right? Maybe
Yeah.
since like 2016 or 17. So it's honestly like the biggest to me. It seems like the biggest success story from Games Workshop, other than just like they always have the core game 40K and I guess now Age of Sigmar, but every other specialist game, like they release it, have like one or two releases, then sort of stop. And I feel Necromunda has been consistently adding a relatively large amount of new models and rules and stuff constantly. So I think that's good. That's nice. See,
Yeah.
not like that kill team. But they actually announced something that Kill Team is updating some rules or something, I think.
Yeah.
Updating some Space Marine stuff. Oh yeah, new rules for Kill Team. You just went past it, Adam.
Yeah, I didn't care.
We're also interested in that.
No,
Kill
we're not.
Team.
No one's interested in that.
Yeah, it's dead game. Dead.
But what
Was
we
good,
are
but
interested in is looking more at these Night Lord Horus Heresy models.
why don't we not do that and look at the Lizardmen, that the Lizardmen warband for Direcast, and they're actually pretty neat.
Yeah, it's good. That's a good call. Yeah, I actually really like this Lizardman, like, little warband. They're cool. They... I guess most of these are skinks, right? And
Yeah.
their faces were redesigned a little bit, and they look nice. The chameleon skink looks great. The little skink shaman type guy looks really nice. They all look good. The one that maybe looks the most awkward is like the Saurus warrior, and I kind of feel like this was true with the Blood Bowl Saurus warriors. They all had really weird kind of like coming at you bro poses where their arms were up really high and they were like "Roar," like roaring at you. I don't love that, but
Yeah, I don't think they needed to do that, but I think that like his face and such is pretty neat looking, and I feel if they redesigned some Saurus warriors to look like that and just put in some other more varied poses, it would be cool. Like just in the future for Age of Sigmar.
yeah. So I don't know. I really like them. They're all good, and they're not too over the top. Like some of them, like the little skink shaman, he's standing on a rock, but
Hell yeah, rocks. Always
yeah, hell
standing
yeah,
on a rock.
rocks. But I'm not. It's not terrible. And they're the bases in general, the scenic bases. I actually kind of like them. They're pretty simple. They're just rocks, but
That's the dire chasm, Adam.
that's true. Yeah,
I,
so they're
I
great.
honestly
I
don't
like
know.
these a
Maybe that's
lot.
not true. I mean, I think in general, this is just sort of showing like the Games Workshop does pretty consistently make nice warbands for their Underworld game, which I guess towards that end, that's actually a game that they pretty consistently they keep releasing stuff for new war bands, adding new cards,
Hmm.
things of that nature. So I presumably it's successful. I mean, it's nice
Yeah.
that there's not a huge buy-in. I mean, you obviously can like you could buy basically every warband to get all the new cards and whatnot,
Hmm.
but
I like their little blow dart little guns. They're like really tiny. Like they're sized pretty well. I do feel if this was your warband, you'd have to be really careful, and like I would almost be tempted to replace the main barrel of the blowpipes with a brass rod or a brass
Yeah,
tube,
that's true.
because you break them right off.
Yeah, it is a good point.
But
Because yeah, it wouldn't be that challenging to probably replace it and just put the little end of it on,
yeah,
like
and I
drill it
mean, if you
out.
were careful, even like the little rings around them, you could even maintain those if you're just really careful with the with like a pin vise or something. You could also, which maybe this, I don't know if it would actually be easier, but you could, if you were very careful, just use a pin vise and drill through the majority of it and just insert a thin brass
That's
tube
true.
through the entire thing to strengthen it. I guess the only thing that can be hard with that is sometimes it can be hard to make sure you're actually drilling straight. And
Yeah,
I could imagine
it's
you
hard.
get about halfway through and then the point starts drilling out of the side of the tube.
And then all is lost.
Oh yeah, Eli's saying you could hollow them and put a little brass rod or something in the center there. Yeah, so I think, yeah, you could probably do that. And I mean, I know like some of these like little brass tubes that like Albion Alloys makes, like some of them are super fine. So I don't think you'd have to worry about getting something thin enough that you could actually insert, but yeah. Something to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're nice. Well, you see here in like the little pic, they're showing some of the cards here. Yeah, this little Saurus warrior, his pose is a little more natural than the
He
actual
looks
model.
he looks exciting as he's jumping in to balance that cosmic equation.
Well, he's running, he's jumping, he's dashing to Warp Tour. Yeah,
Oh
there are a couple
yeah.
people trying to get in his way, but he's
Never ending math equation. Makes sense.
Oh, and then they have. So actually, at the end here, is this like a preview of what's to come next?
Pirate vampires
Yeah, I was
coming.
gonna say, is it the pirate vampires that everyone's been talking about for a while? Um,
That's them.
I do feel that's a very good.
It certainly seems like a vampire like something.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Like, I'm sort of looking forward to seeing what they do with the vampires. I'm not convinced they're gonna be really cool, but it's possible
Well,
that.
the Bone Reapers are really cool, so you're gonna probably eat your words at them.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Um, I guess this little silhouette here, that hand he's
Oh wait,
holding up,
actually, they
looks
even
cool.
call that warband is called or a glimpse at the future at a warband that. Oh, never mind. It's Follow the Starblood Stalkers. I thought
Is that
Starblood
the
Stalkers could
lizardman?
have been the name of this undead warband, but no, I guess that's
The lizardman.
the Skinks.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
pretty cool.
pretty neat.
Hey everybody, I need to go to bed. Like I have to be up early for work. Sorry I haven't
Yeah.
said too much.
No problem,
Okay.
Greg.
Be well, everybody. Thanks for joining in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so now, do we dare look at these Night Lord models, Eric?
Guys,
We probably
didn't we look
shouldn't.
at them before,
I think we did.
back when they were released? Or like soon?
It's funny
It's
here,
clear
like,
they're bad.
I fucking love these. Like, look at how most of them, or three of them, three of the five, they literally, they have one of their legs standing up on either a rock or like a torso or something. Like, Jesus Christ, like.
That's terrible. They look
When whoever was sculpting these, did they really think that that was somehow adding visual interest or
yeah,
like a sense of like a dynamic sense to the models?
that's
Like,
literally the worst part of the models.
it doesn't, literally looks like that nearly all of them are like ready to fall over, doesn't it? Like, what the fuck? Like,
It's such bad design. I can't even believe it. Or I mean, I can, but
they're rough. Like, God, I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Though I will say, like, some of these zoomed in pictures here, some of the detailing on this is a little higher than I would expect from some of the more recent Forge World Horse Heresy things. Mind you, these chains, I think each link to the chain, like they're too big, and they kind of look like I went to try and add a chain to a model and just found the smallest chain I could easily find, but wasn't actually happy with it. But it's like, whatever, like, it's good enough. And then just,
I mean, it's good enough for Forge World. That's generally Forge World's motto, probably. Good enough for us. Horse Heresy's dead. It's fine.
and another thing that's so weird, it's like if you look at these, they have these weird skull helmets, and then there's one that doesn't have a skull helmet. To me, it almost doesn't even look
They paint those on.
like the one that you can see half of his face. To me, it almost looks like his head and his eyebrows and stuff are so big that you couldn't even put the helmet on. It's like his head is enlarging. It's enlarged such that he could no longer get the helmet off.
He doesn't want to take it off.
And the red bat wings on their shoulders don't look good. Like, if we look at the entire squad here, the three in the front are awful. The two in the back look a little better. Part of that's just due to the fact that they're not trying to step up on a rock and losing their balance. Yeah, I don't know. They're
Bad
terrible.
times.
They're really
Bad
bad.
times.
And also, like, look at, like, a lot of them, they have these skulls or whatever on, like, trophy skulls on their shoulders. I don't know about you, but they're pretty bad looking skulls. Like, I guess they weren't trying to look like real skulls, like they're just style. I don't even know, actually. Because then again, like, if you compare the size of these skull, like the leader, this skull to the size of his head, like, holy shit, they're not even close. So I guess this is a human skull, and
That's all they can kill are humans, not.
yeah, I guess they have to be human skulls.
Yeah.
Either that, or it's just that the sergeant he has a massive head, which, I mean, that's possible too.
It's almost certainly the case.
Ugh.
Goal was to make the models look bad, and they succeeded.
They did it. They succeeded. Do you think, like, I would love to see what They probably had a brainstorming session and had a list of all the things they wanted to incorporate in these models. Oh.
We don't know what to put on his one shoulder pad. Let's just put the Roman numerals for his legion really big.
Is that actually is this the right number too? What is
I don't even know. I assume
the
that's
Night
right.
Lords?
Yeah, I don't
Are they
know.
8? The Night Lords 8? I don't even remember. I assume that's correct. They wouldn't have fucked that up. Right? It's not like this is one of their publications where they'd fuck it up, but like, no. And then they painted it on some of their shoulder guards too, so I think that's probably right.
Yeah, they're bad. They're terrible.
Okay, we've looked at them too long. I'm sorry, everybody.
Really, what people should do is when basing a model like this, they should put the other foot on a rock too, so they're standing on 2 rocks.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome. Or do you
It
think
would
they
look
were?
really good.
I think it might be better if you just remove the rock entirely and replace it with like a soccer ball or like a basketball or something. That would add a whole new level of dynamic.
Immersion.
Yeah, I think that would be the cool thing.
Be pretty cool.
Be really cool.
Eli says that was the correct legion number, so
they did it. At least that. But I think they would look cool standing on like a football or something. Pretty cool. Pretty neat.
yeah. The coolest.
So I don't know if
The
there's
absolute
anything else
coolest.
on the community page that we really need to talk about.
I don't think so. I feel it's just like a constant, like really slow trickle. And a lot of it's hard to care about. I mean,
Oh, so this is the kill team thing that I just skipped over.
I went to it like, oh, kill team, and then like there was too much text, and I realized I didn't care, so I stopped reading it. I'm not sure how they're saying they're going to announce how it's being released. Does it say anywhere?
It might. Or so, are you looking forward to the upcoming rules for these units in kill team? Grab a box of assault intercessors or Necron warriors to get ready for battle today.
Every
Oh, so
model
it
from
doesn't.
the Indominus. So, yeah, so I kind of think it'll just be some dumb shit that maybe they release a small book that's basically just we added
Yeah, it says
these new Space Marines.
keep an eye firmly fixed on Warhammer community as we deliver more updates soon on the future of kill teams. So yeah, I think in a
Maybe
little
if we're
while.
lucky, they'll just have a new rule book for kill team and buy it again.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what it'll be.
But like as kill teams, its main function is to add new Space Marine models to it
Mm-hmm.
and nothing else. God, their heavy bolt pistols look so awkward in that the battle scene with them running at you.
They
And
really
this,
do. They work a lot better as bolt, like a full-size bolt gun,
like they look
don't
so
they?
stupid. It's like they're, well, I mean, like all GW weapons look stupid, but I
It
feel
also
these
looks like in this battle scene here, the Ultramarine in the center, doesn't it look as if his chainsword, whoever had it, they must have bent the blade because it's not in line with the pommel of the sword.
yeah.
So I would imagine it was painted, then someone like wasn't careful and they nearly broke the sword off.
It does look that way.
That's cool. I never looked too closely, but so they did at least try to get their holsters to fit they're huge pistols, but I don't. They're still not big enough. They really tried though.
Well, that just speaks to like they realize that like, oh, that kind of matters. That's sort of an immersion thing, but kept the pistol so large that
Yeah, I
just
mean it would be
even if
easier
they
for.
were the right size, it would like it looks stupid how big those holsters are.
Hmm.
And just everything's pointing at like it was a bad design choice. Size is bad, and everyone knows it's bad,
Yeah.
but they're sticking with it. So, yes, good job, Games Workshop. Stick with your convictions.
Hmm.
People need to know that's a heavy bolt pistol from across the table.
Yeah, you're right, Eric. That's what it is.
I just think that picture that all of the Ultramarines there standing there, like they look so awkward, all holding the heavy bolt pistol at basically the same angle in a
Yeah.
way that like they couldn't shoot that. It's too long and weird.
Hmm. The sergeant, he's getting ready to do a squat as well. Well, it's
Yeah.
weird. Like you see, largely four Marines here, and two of them, they're essentially pairs of the different legs. Two of them have the weird squatting legs, and the other two, they're like charging forward. It looks pretty good, but yeah, I don't know.
Just fail,
Yeah.
fail.
And that the arm with the power fist, to me, it almost doesn't even look like it attaches properly to his shoulder.
Yeah, it might not.
But that doesn't matter. It's a Space Marine. God. All right, so we've looked at this enough. Well, it'll be interesting to see if what they decide to do with Kill Team. I feel
Mhm.
best case scenario they'll release like a new book, but I guess if they release a new book, ideally it would have essentially the rules for all of the different armies and all of the different units. Because if they don't do that,
Yeah, and but then also have a bunch of additional stuff for other warbands, not just because the way it is now, literally half the book would be Space Marine entries,
yeah.
and then there would be 3 Dark Eldar entries, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they do with it, but I'm not very hopeful for it.
because I liked Kill Team, like, I actually
Yeah, we played it a
played
little.
games of it more so than almost anything, like, I think it was a nice system. It's largely the same as GW stuff, but the back and forth shooting, but combined like doing just turns movement stuff, I think was a nice way to slightly shorten stuff, still keep you engaged. I think it was a pretty good system. So I don't know. I mean, I'm still interested to see what it is, but having just seeing this doesn't really excite any. Like, it doesn't excite me at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that. Yeah. Well, so what are you thinking, Eric? Like maybe we've largely run out of stuff to talk about?
Yeah, I think we might have. I
Yeah, so
think
I
we
guess
might
maybe
have.
then we can draw the stream to a close. I guess thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for bearing with us as we kind of belabored the new Warlock releases.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Oh, Eli, we can't go back to the Orlocks. Like, I thought after our final end of the year stream thing.
Yeah, I
we
didn't
were
really think we
done
were
for-
gonna have to talk about them for a long time, and then it's like literally like Jesus, they're releasing more.
Everything comes back to Orlocks.
Well, so one of the things I was thinking about with the 28 magazine challenge, like that would be a great opportunity to just convert an Warlock model, like a Smith or something like that, and like actually make a nice looking Warlock model.
But you'd probably just not use any of the Orlock pieces.
Well, yeah, you couldn't. That would be the
Yeah.
big thing. You would just use none of them because they're bad. Yeah, so I don't know. That's something to consider. If you want to take part in the 28 magazine challenge, consider making like a
Make those
blacksmith
Orlocks proud.
or something, or a mechanic Orlock, and just convert it completely without using Orlock parts. It's a thing to do. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe even I could do something like that. Would be worthwhile. Because I guess with all that I've complained about the Orlocks, I should probably try and make one that I feel is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, thanks again everybody for joining us. It's been fun chatting. Keep safe, everybody. Keep safe and healthy. Keep on enjoying the hobby, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, see you, everybody.
Yep. Over and out.